Hey everyone, I just wanted to come and do a video about being a victim advocate. I've been a law enforcement victim advocate for about 9 months now. Um, when I first when I first accepted this job, I wasn't really sure what all it entailed. When I did my interview, the interviewers didn't really know exactly what all the job entailed because they don't do the job. And so I do work at a police department as a law enforcement victim advocate. Um, First off, in order to be a victim advocate, you have to become a victim service provider. And so you have to be trained in certain areas um, in order to become a victim service provider. So you get a little card, and let's see if I have it. Well, I have my wallet here. But every year you have to complete a certain number of hours in order to be in good standing. I should have had this out already. But this is my little victim service provider card. And it's your first and last name, your victim service provider number. And you put that number down at all trainings that you attend, and you also put it down for all trainings that you conduct or facilitate. So as an advocate in a law enforcement center, I believe my job is a lot different from victim advocates in other agencies or fields. My job is different than a victim advocate who would be working in a hospital or in a rape crisis center or the solicitor's office, things like that. So as a law enforcement victim advocate, my job is very interesting from day to day. Of course, as with most social work jobs, no 2 days are the same, and you never know what's going to happen. You never know what to expect. So basically what I do is every day I go into work, and you have to have a lot of reading comprehension skills. And you have to be very organized, and you have to be able to maintain a caseload. For me personally, I have an unlimited caseload, um, and there's only two people in my department that do my job. So it's myself and then my partner. We're the only two victim advocates at this particular police department. And so what we do is, every day we come in, we read all of the incident reports from the previous day. If it's a Monday, then we read all of the incident reports from the weekend, from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And sometimes it takes the whole entire morning to read through all of the reports. And but we have to open all of them. And because it's just the two of us, we split the reports by number, case number. So I get all of the odd numbers, she gets all of the even numbers. And then, some days she could have more cases than I do, or vice versa. But we read through all of the incident reports, no matter what they are. We read through them all, and we figure out who's an actual victim. So, and especially on a Monday, we may have about 100 incident reports sometimes, and so that's why it takes so long. Some of them you can kind of skim through and just weed out the ones like the DUIs and the driving under suspensions and things like that. But what we pull from those reports are the domestic violence, the criminal sexual conduct, the assault and batteries, the attempted murders, the armed robberies, and we even pull the uh, auto breakings and um, petty larcenies for those people who have their wallets stolen with their personal identification um, documents on the inside, like their social security card, birth certificate, driver's license, those kind of things. We send those people information on how to protect yourself from identity theft. But for those other more personal crimes, we definitely reach out to those victims and we call them. Um, Domestic violence victims, we call pretty much the very day that we get those reports. We call all of them right away, to check on them, see how they're doing, if they need someone to talk to, give them resources for orders of protection, um, shelters, private shelters, counseling, that kind of thing. And then we also inform them of the status of the offender, if the offender is incarcerated, if we know that he has been released, and the victim is, they have a choice on whether or not they want to be contacted if the offender has a bond hearing or has been released. But we have access to that information, and we inform them of the release or the capture of the offender if he had an active warrant out and was arrested. We do make those calls, and then we inform them of their court date, and we have that information a lot quicker than they get it in the mail, so we can access it as soon as they put it into the system, and we just call the victim and let them know when that court date is. And then we also attend court with the victim as support. A lot of times we don't really say much. We just go up with the victim to the podium to speak with the judge, but it's kind of like we talk to the victim beforehand. We get information that we may not have gotten from the incident report. And so that's pretty much what we do. We also go to parole hearings for cases that happened back in like 1970, like the 1970s and things like that. And it's always in opposition. We're always opposed to the offender being paroled, and so we go and say the same thing every single time. We oppose the parole. We go to interagency meetings. We collaborate with other community agencies. And we document everything. There's our little database that we use to track all of our victims, and it lets you do a case by case, and they assign the victim a number. And so if the victim has a case in April, we can put the case in there under that number, and then say they have another case in September. We just check and see if they're already in the system. If they are, we can add a new case to their number, so that way we can track and see what kind of patterns and trends are going on. We also help victims fill out compensation forms through the State Office of Victim Assistance, which is a fund that can assist victims with medical bills, dental bills, counseling, funeral expenses, up to a certain amount, and it's different in each state. But in the state of South Carolina, the State Office of Victim Assistance will assist with medical bills up to $15,000. That's if you don't have health insurance or Medicaid or some other form of payment. SOVA is what they call it, the acronym for State Office of Victim Assistance. They are a last option for people who have been affected by crime as far as payment goes for medical bills, and counseling and things like that. And every day is different. It's a lot of reading, a lot of typing, a lot of sending out information, answering calls, answering questions, and just being supportive. I've stayed on the phone with a victim for about 2 hours, and then as I'm talking, I write down pretty much verbatim what they say, and then I have to go back in and type up everything that I wrote down. And you meet them in person, you talk to them on the phone for so long, and then finally you meet them in person at court. And once the court hearing is over, the case is pretty much closed, but they can always contact you, and we like to do a follow-up as well, just to check on the victim, maybe a month or two later. But we've developed domestic violence task force, and do a lot of volunteer work. So it's very different. It's different than what I'm used to, because I sit at a desk most of the day. But I'm not used to that. I'm used to being out in the community and working directly one-on-one with people, but now I sit at the desk most of the day and answer the phone and read and type and type and type and document. And you know, it's a good job. My favorite part about it is going to court though. And you know, if you like sitting at a desk and helping people, it's a great job. It really is. So, I think that pretty much covers everything. If you have any questions about being a victim advocate or you need to know more information, leave me a comment in the comment box, and like and subscribe, and we'll see you next video.